Hey there, ladies and gents, this is Saibai here again, and I wanted to wish everyone a happy new year. Today we are going to be doing another Return to Ravnica Swiss draft. Thank you for watching my videos, and remember to visit the mtgnoob.com and planeswalkerlibrary.com. Alright, let us begin. Alright, here we are for the first pack, and we open an Asperia, which is a pretty decent bomb. Let's see what else we get. Not a whole lot else. There's a dramatic rescue, which is pretty nice, but not for our first pick. There's a Courser's Accord if we wanted to force the populate deck, but I think Asperia is just that much better that I'm gonna go ahead and take that here. Second pack we get there's a Centaur's Herald, which is pretty nice, Sunspire Griffin, Sluiceway Scorpions, pretty good. There's an Azorius Guildgate, and not a whole lot else. I think the Griffin is the best card here, and it goes decently well with our first pick. We can go blue-white flyers, which is always a good strategy. So let's go ahead and take the Sunspire Griffin here. Next pack we get a Judge's Familiar, which is alright if we want to be aggressive in the skies. There is a Dredge Beetle, which is pretty good. There's a Launch Party and an Avenging Arrow for removal, also an Action Injunction. Here I think it's between the Inaction Injunction and maybe the Avenging Arrow to stay on color. Let's take the Inaction Injunction and be flyers with tempo. That should be good. We get awarded Azorius Justiciar, which is pretty good, so let's go ahead and take that. Alright, here there's a Hussar Patrol, a Rootborn Defenses, there's a Common Bond, which we could splash, but we're not too married to blue. We got some decent blue stuff, but I think the Hussar Patrol is pretty good and it stays on color, so let's go ahead and take that. Here we get Transguild Promenade, which should be alright, help us color fix. There's a Celestia Sentry, which would be alright. There's also an Izzet Keyrune, which isn't too exciting. Not getting past a lot of Azorius stuff on this pack. Let's go ahead and take the Dredge Beetle here. It's a nice bear, and it splashes well with the Azorius stuff. And Celestia tends to be the stronger guild, so let's go ahead and take the Dredge Beetle. Here we get an Axebane Guardian, which would be pretty good. Helps us play a 3-color deck really well. There's a Sphere of Safety, which can be pretty annoying. There's another Dredge Beetle, there's a Goblin Electromancer, and a Paralyzing Grasp for removal, but it's not too exciting of a removal. I think the Axebane Guardian is going to be pretty useful for us. It'll block a lot of the 2X guys while the couple of flyers we have comes over the sky. If not, then we can go into a Celestia build, so let's go ahead and take that. Here we get, there's a Towering Indrik, a Swift Justice, which is pretty nice, or a Crosstown Courier to be aggressive on the ground. I think green seems pretty open. We're getting past a lot of green stuff, so let's take the Towering Indrik and see if we go into Celestia. There's an Aerial Predation, which is usually good to have at least one. There's an Izzet Guildgate. Nobody's in Izzet, which is pretty common. Yeah, let's take the Aerial Predation. I like to have one of those. We get a Druid's Deliverance, which is pretty nice. Not a whole lot else. So let's go ahead and take the Deliverance. And we get back not a whole lot here. Let's take the Batterhorn. It's the best card here, and at least cut it. Here we get a Dispel back, which is pretty nice, or a Horn Colors Chant. We don't have a whole lot of Populate, and our green isn't too exciting, so let's take the Dispel. The Risen Sanctuary came back, or the Gobbling Ooze. I think the Sanctuary is going to be more exciting than the Ooze. I haven't seen a lot of people use the Ooze very well. And a Rakdos Guildgate, alright. And a Forest. We're looking pretty decent here. We have some good Azorius cards and some splashable Celestia stuff. Or we could just go pure Celestia and splash some of the blue. We'll need to get some more color fixing if we want to do that, but that's alright. We open a Vraska, which is really nice. Might take that, but let's see if there's something better for our deck. There's a Doorkeeper, which is pretty good at holding off the ground. There's a Axebane Guardian. There's a Vassal Souls to go with the Flyer plan. There's a Cancel, which would be nice. There's a Savage Surge for the trick, but I think I just have to take the Vraska. It's worth a couple of tickets, and it's a pretty strong card. I don't really want to play against it. Anything here I can probably get in another pack, except for maybe the Savage Surge, but let's go ahead and take the Vraska. Maybe we jump into Celestia and splash the Vraska. That isn't too bad of an idea here. Let's see here. There's a Knightly Valor, which is a pretty good card. There's an Annihilating Fire and an Augur Spree, but we're not really in those colors. We do need to get some removal though. There's a Stab Wound and an Eyes in the Skies, as well as an Inspiration. I think the cards that are best for us are in the white, so I think we want to stay core white as much as possible. But Stab Wound is pretty good. It's decent removal. Let's go ahead and take the Knightly Valor. I think it's the best card for us here, so let's go ahead and take that. Here we get a Lev Sky Knight, which is really good. There's a Chorus of Might, which doesn't compare to the Sky Knight. A Bloodfray Giant, which is really good for whoever's in red. But let's go ahead and just take the Sky Knight and be happy about it. Here we get a Gatecreeper Vine, which might be alright. There's also an Inspiration, a Druid's Deliverance. I think the Gatecreeper Vine's gonna help us. We're kind of three colors for the most part, and the Gatecreeper Vine will help us fix. We'll need to prioritize some gates, but I'm sure we can pick up at least a couple of them. No gates here. There's a Centaur's Herald, which is pretty nice. Chorus of Might, or a Paralyzing Grasp. I think we have a decent creature count. We don't have a whole lot of tricks. Not really aggressive Celestia either, so that trick isn't going to help us a whole lot. Let's just take the Centaur's Herald. It's a decent body and a good opener. I think we're getting pushed into green a bit, which is alright. Not seeing a whole lot of Azorius. There's an Avenging Arrow, which would be much needed removal. There's also another Chorus of Might. Yeah, let's take the Avenging Arrow. I want to get some removal. Here we get not a whole lot. There's a billion Cremates. Some really bad black cards. The Druid's Deliverance or the Crosstown Courier. I think we already have a Deliverance, so the creature is probably going to do us a bit better. The Seek the Horizon might be decent for us to help us fix our mana, thin out our deck. Yeah, let's take the Seek the Horizon. I think that'll help us fix our colors a bit. We're all over the place here. Pretty easy pickup of a Azorius Guildgate. We definitely want one of those. And nothing else here is too exciting. We have some of the better cards already, so let's take the gate. We get a Golgari Guildgate, which might help us splash the Vraska. There's also a Cancel and a Sundering Growth. Let's take the Cancel. I'm not wanting to stretch too much for the Vraska, and the cancel is going to help us a lot better than that. So let's take that. The Sphere of Safety came back, so did the Towering Drake, or Tower Drake. For us, I think the Tower Drake is going to be better for us, so let's go ahead and take that. Surprised to see the Annihilating Fire. Here we don't get a whole lot. The Axebane Stag we might play, but unlikely. But let's go ahead and pick that up. Let's hack a Traitorous Instincts. I don't want to get Traitorous Instinct out here. Let's take the Dynacharge. That's a decent trick. And a Mind Rot, alright. And a Swamp. Our deck is looking alright. I don't think the Vraska is going to make it. Some of the other things might, but let's see what else we can pick up. Conjured Currency is not playable. There's a Thrill Kill Assassin, which is nice. There's a Hover Barrier, which is really good for us. I think that'll be the pick. It gets in the way really well. There's also a Rune Wing, which would be nice if it wheels, as would the Hussar Patrol. There's also a Tristani's Judgment and Eyes in the Sky. I think we might be able to get a Tristani's Judgment later. It's a common, whereas the Hover Barrier is uncommon. So let's go ahead and take the Hover Barrier. We're looking to be a little more defensive to save time to get to our higher stuff, which isn't that bad, but it isn't great. There's an Azorius Charm, which is probably going to be the pick for us. It's decent removal and it's pretty versatile. The Dramatic Rescue would be nice also, as would the Void Wielder. Our 3-drop's pretty heavy, so the Cellar probably isn't necessary for us. Another Gatecreeper Vine wouldn't hurt, but let's go ahead and take the Charm. I think that'll be a nice pickup for us. Here there's a Rogue's Passage, which we're not too aggressive, so we're not trying to sneak things through. Sneaking through the Risen Sanctuary would be nice. Maybe we get one of those later. There's a Celestia Guildgate, which I think we want to get. The Sunspire Griffin is probably going to be better for us. There's also a Rune Wing, which would be nice. Yeah, I think the Griffin is just a stronger card. Hopefully we can get a Celestia Guildgate or another Azorius one here soon. But the Griffin is just a really strong card. It blocks a lot of stuff. There's another Azorius Justiciar, which I think is going to be our pick. Yeah, it doesn't look like anything else is going to be too great for us, so let's go ahead and pick that up happily. There's an Arrest, which is excellent for us. Let's go ahead and lock that in. That's definitely going to be the pick. Another Rune Wing would be good for us, as would another Towering Indrik. Nothing else is too exciting, so let's go ahead and take the Arrest and be very glad to get that. There's a Stiller of Secrets, another Knightly Valor, an Avenging Arrow, a Dispel, or a Celestia Guildgate. I want to take the Knightly Valor here, but I definitely need a Celestia Guildgate, so let's go ahead and take that over the Knightly Valor here. Here we get an Azorius Arrestor, or an Ethereal Armor, or another Axebane Guardian. Our 2-drop slot is looking pretty light. We only have 2 creatures and one of them's pretty throwaway. Let's go ahead and take the Arrestor here. We have plenty of 3-drops and maybe the Axebane will wheel. We've seen something worse before. Here there's an Asperia Skywatch, which is probably going to be the pick for us. There's also a Transguild Promenade, which wouldn't be bad, but I think the Skywatch is just better. Keeping with the Flyers theme, we got some decent Flyers. The Rune Wing came back. I think we'll snap that up happily. Nothing else seems too exciting for us. There's a Crosstown Courier, which should be nice, or the Dramatic Rescue. Let's definitely take the Dramatic Rescue. Another Risen Sanctuary. I'm not sure we would play 2, but nothing else here seems too exciting. Let's take the Sundering Growth. I want to have at least one of those for some pesky enchantments. Swift Justice came back through, so let's go ahead and take that. That's a nice pickup. We get another Sundering Growth, alright. And a Tablet of the Guilds, alright. And an Island, alright. Alright, here we are for deck building. I'm gonna cut the green first and see where we start. Our blue and white are gonna be our stronger colors. We have a lot of good blue and white stuff. Yeah, that leaves us with 22. I don't think we need to start with the Sundering Growth, so that's 21. Let's split out our creatures, and we have 12 creatures, so we're gonna wanna add in some green creatures. Let's put in the Dredge Beetle. I think that's gonna be really good for us. Since we're splashing the green, the Axebane Guardian is going to help quite a bit. 2 Justice Jars are nice, 2 Sunspire Griffins is nice. The Drake is a maybe, but I think we want that. Our creatures look good at 14. Let's see what else we can cut here. The Avenging Arrow isn't too exciting. We have some other decent removal. We probably want to play the Dispel. The Swift Justice should be good for us as a combat trick. Everything else looks pretty good. Is there something we want instead of the Avenging Arrow? Don't have a very high top end. Maybe one of the Risen Sanctuaries would be alright. Veraska would be too much of a splash for us. Centaur's Herald might be alright, but I'm not too excited to play that. Gatecreeper Vine as a shield to buy us some life would be alright, but the Avenging Arrow could serve a similar purpose. Definitely want to think about putting the Aerial Predation in if we get too many flyers, but we should be alright there. The Towering Indrik might be good for us, so it's a decent blocker. Our 4-drop isn't too full up, and if we have a couple of decent 4 toughness guys sitting in the way of everybody, that'd help us. So I think I want to throw in the Towering Indrik. Let's cut, I think I want that as removal. We have a lot of blockers, so we can take something out. I think the cancel might strain our mana a bit too much. We have double white everywhere and then double blue on our high drop, which isn't too bad, but cancel might be a bit too tough for us to make work. So let's go ahead and cut that. We do have the Dispel, which is usually what we want to be canceling anyways, is tricks. Let's throw in our gates and add some lands. They say 2, 5, 8. We want another forest. We have 3 green cards and we already have a gate, so 4 sources of green should probably do it better for us. The Axebane Guardian will help us with our mana too, so let's go ahead and let's drop a plane, since both of these count as white anyway. So that'll give us 9 sources of white, 6 sources of blue, and 4 sources of green, not including the Axebane Guardian. I think that should be pretty decent for us. And we have some things to side into, so we can tweak that mana base. Let's go ahead and add those lands, and I'll submit this, and I'll see you guys for round 1. Thank you for watching.